that he can tell it best.
Happy Sabbath. Last Sabbath, my backpack disappeared, and Alan Warren heard that that experience was a faith booster for me and wanted me to talk about it. I just have to tell you the whole story. Try not to take too much time, but for it to make sense, when you have an experience with God, it's such a personal thing that it's hard to, like when I talked to Maureen and she asked me if I would say something. Actually, I talked to Hal, but and I started thinking, well, now I have to verbalize this thing that happened. So I went back through it in my mind. But anyway, I always forced to have it. I bring my backpack, throw it in the trunk every Sabbath, and when we got home from church, I don't bring it in. It always just stays in the trunk just in case. When we got home, we had my backpack, both our Bible bags, a ice chest, and there was too much for us to carry in the house all at once, so we both had our arms full, and we went in the house, and I told Andy, I'll come out and get the rest of it. So I was in the house like 15 seconds. I came back out, grabbed what was left, brought it in the house, shut the trunk, and first thing I did is I asked her, well, what'd you do with my backpack? And she's like, I don't remember bringing it in. So we searched the house, and I started realizing, well, what's in the backpack is my car keys, my house keys, my checkbook, the check that I had written on waiting to mail for my property tax, some of my prescription medicine. All my passwords and usernames for everything, banking, whatnot. And so we, looked all over the house. Maybe we set it down. I mean, we must have set it down somewhere. Couldn't find it in the house, so we jumped back in the car, and we had stopped at the park to eat lunch after Sabbath school. And so we stopped there first to see maybe if I took the backpack out and put it on the ground without thinking. And then we drove by the church, it wasn't there either. And I was telling Andy the whole time, it has to be in the house, because I didn't take it out of the trunk. I know I didn't. So, and then, of course I'm praying, and not like a real prayer, but I'm just like, oh Lord, help me find it, So I'm convinced we left it in the house, so searched the house, and they said, well, maybe somebody took it out of the trunk when you were in the house. And I thought, that's impossible. I'm still kind of convinced it's impossible, but I wasn't out of sight of that car for probably more than 15 seconds, so in my mind it had to be something else. And it started feeling supernatural. And supernatural is something, that you can't explain by normal means, and because I'm a believer that knows the truth, supernatural has to be only one of two things. It's either God-driven or the devil. And this felt like a God thing. And anyway, so I went to the trunk of the car. I must have opened it 4 or 5 times. And it's completely empty. And logic tells you it's not in there, but I thought, if it can disappear like that, then it can reappear. It would feel kind of funny. It's just like in the house, looking at the same spots over and over again. Anyway, my sister had called that afternoon, and I told her about it. I had her praying. And then, I know Emmy has a black backpack. And I thought maybe she grabbed mine by mistake, although I know she didn't when we dropped her off. So I thought, well, I'm not going to call the cops. I'm not going to do anything until after our hot dog roast that we had that night. First check with Emmy. So it wasn't at her house. And nobody at the hot dog roast said, oh, we found you drove off and left your backpack. So, and I talked to Allison after Allison's sermon last Sabbath too. I told her, well, I guess it's my turn now to experience but she said she would pray, and I mentioned it to the pastor and to June, so I was confident, that I had several people praying. And then, like, I should mention that, I had been feeling, this time of year I feel kind of down, just a little bit depressed because of the weather. Things are dying. I like gardening, and so I'm always a little down. Well, my spiritual life has been down a little bit. And we talked about having a personal relationship with Jesus, and how do we do that? We pray, we read the Bible. And I had just consciously felt mine lacking. So after that hot dog roast, well, Allison said she'd pray. She actually said, I'm going to pray that whoever took it is going to be so miserable that they're going to end up bringing it back and giving it back to you. So the next morning, I woke up and I was in the shower, and that's when I pray. That was like my real press, like when I'm on my knees when I'm in the shower. And I actually was praying, okay, God, you've got my attention. Let me know what you want me to do. And also give me the strength to do what I need to do to change the locks, call the bank, change my passwords. And after I prayed that, it was more of a prayer of submission. And I felt better right away. I felt the strength that I had asked for. And before that, I had just felt so exposed, and it just emotionally draining to feel that way. But I felt so much better, and I didn't pray that Sunday morning that I would get the backpack back, because I already had people praying, and I just felt, well, God, this isn't about my backpack. And anyway, I went to the store. It was I did. I walked around the block when I got out of the shower, and then I called the police. And the policeman, I hesitated. I almost didn't call the police, because what am I going to tell them? That my backpack, God took my backpack. My backpack disappeared. So I told him, I said, the reason I haven't called you sooner is because I wanted to exhaust all my possibilities, because I didn't believe at all that it could happen. Somebody could take it. I would have seen them when I came out of the house, or they would have had to have been right there. And the policeman said, actually, that a guy just had that happen on South Mary. In the morning, he was packing up to go on a trip, and he was in and out of the house, and some guy came and took his wallet in the meantime, and within an hour, it was down at Macy's charging on his debit card. And it still didn't convince me that somebody had taken it. But anyway, I walked up and down the block. After I talked to the police, then I went to Fred Meyer to buy some cilantro for my Benny. And while I'm at Fred Meyer, I get a call, and it's the policeman. And he's at my house, knocking on the door. Nobody's answering because they didn't hear him knock, but he's got my backpack. And he said, I think everything's in it. And I just felt so relieved. I couldn't believe it. But, later when I was thinking of it, I thought, that morning, a lot of times on Sabbath mornings when I'm driving to church, I'll sing little songs like B-I-B-L-E or Jesus Loves Me. And that morning, I remembered I had been singing Make Me a Blessing. And I thought, wow, I wonder if that ties in somehow. And when I got that backpack back, everything indeed was in there, but I thought, wait a minute. I had thrown a long sleeve shirt and my white undershirt, t-shirt that said Abundant Life on it with the Bible verse, John 10:10 on the back. That was missing. The clothes that were in there were missing. Oh, and the cops had found it right across the street in, 100 feet away, if that, in a jungle gym. So, the theory is some kid that saw me go in the house, grabbed it, saw me come back out, and so took off running toward the school, tossed it, and the jungle gym. Yeah, but my belief is God had a big hand in it, because that prayer I had the next morning was, he showed me why I was lacking, what was missing from my prayer life. And that was that submission that, okay, God, you got my attention. So, anyway.